That match doesn't count. That match does not count. I hate all these analysts and casters and that are watching this match, and they're like, "Oh yeah, it would have been different if Saya was on the edge." Did you watch the game?
It's time once again to reconvene the smoothest brains in the Valorant world to talk some Valoranting. What's up, Van Silly? Mitch, good to have you here, Vance. I see your hair is less green this week.
Turning
still heading in that direction. I can't really tell, actually.
Me neither. I feel like I'm turning more into M week by week. But my wife's responsibility today is to go for a walk, go to the pharmacy, and she's gonna surprise me with a different color. So I don't know what color it's going to be. Maybe orange, maybe red, maybe purple. I don't know, but I'm looking forward to see.
You just left it up to her. What kind of life do you live where you can just leave decisions like that up to people without any material gain? Like at least Bren got a tattoo because it raised a ton of money for at Tip of the Hats, but you were just like, nah, fuck me up, fam.
Yeah, it's let's have fun. You know, I have fun with the wife. Whatever she wants, I'm in it. You know, I'm alive. I'm just happy to be here. Let's just go with it.
Okay, yeah. All right. We'll leave that one, shall we? What's going on, Mitch? How you been, buddy? I was gonna say, yeah. I mean, I can hear you, Mitch, but that's in Discord.
I'll sign language for Mitch while he speaks. You're doing good, Mitch, is what you're saying. And then he said, "We'll avoid my hair."
And look, I'm now super bright. I am now illuminated by the sun.
We did talk about the brightest minds. It is the brightest minds.
Sorry, that was better.
I said smoothest brains, actually.
All right. Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Better than the Halo TV series. My God. Yeah. So feeling good, basically, and I'll try to get myself to be way less bright. My God, I'm illuminating myself from my screen. It's so egregious.
We had a bunch of 2-0s this week in both regions, actually. I think every game in NA was a 2-0, right?
Yep.
Damn. That's
surprisingly, it's actually quite surprising as well. But I feel like you know, the game's in a funny state where everybody's still trying to figure out their level of comfort to get into the last 2 weeks of the group stages to see who makes it to playoffs. And then I think because of that, it's just making people do wild things and unfortunately not work out in their favor.
It's just it's weird. There's so many one-sided games, and yet the groups are all really close. The only team that's like not lost yet is OpTic. Let's talk about our topics for today. I mean, I have a whole minute to tell you 2 fucking things, so get ready for it. Sentinels obviously 0-3. They're fucked, right? They're fucked.
Not yet.
Okay, not yet. They're partially fucked. Yeah.
Opium.
Not in a great place. We're going to chat with mCe as well, of course. Great to have him back on the show, talk the guard, and talk about how that group and the rest of NA are shaping up. And then we're going to talk about VCT EU. That's right, we got Mitch here as well. Sliggy's coming on board. Going to be great to chat with, obviously, the formerly Liquid coach, and talk about Fnatic, of course, booking their ticket to playoffs, and the rest of what's going on in the region. We're starting to get a little bit more spread between some of our teams. So we'll be jumping and covering that in the second part of the show. Let's talk VCT NA though, to start this one off. Holy crap, Mitch. Yeah, it's like the bloody sun's blazing through your window. All you did was bloody restart your VMix, mate. How does that even work out?
Quick refresh, and then here we are, being bombarded.
If I could just channeling Stormlight over here.
At least it's not pixelated.
I mean, yeah, I guess I can't really tell. You all look pixelated to me right now, but yeah.
There we go.
There we go.
All those pixels
Yep. Fucking guy. All right. Let's bring mCe in, who can only stay with us for about 45 minutes, so we're going to blaze through this quickly. mCe, great to have you here on the show, man. Also great to see you guys bounce back from a tough start to VCT NA. How are you feeling?
Feeling pretty good. I hadn't won in, I think it was exactly 2 months on the day that we played. So definitely nice to, get a pretty important win and like everything and, get back on the right track.
We're definitely going to we're going to obviously focus a bit more on, your journey over the last couple months in a moment. We talk about that match here. Here's our weekly results. So all 2-0s here. Some of these matches were really not particularly compelling. Like there was some really one-sided affairs here, Vance. In that host of 2-0s, any matches you felt like sort of maybe the 2-0 scoreline doesn't do it justice?
No, not really. I think overall, when you're looking at these, all these matches went by very quickly with 2-0s. But I think when you're looking at the storylines, the only one that really made sense was like this OG versus Sentinels 2-0. Everything else, like it was maybe a toss-up, but it's nice that it's like teams like Ghost, FaZe, even EG getting the wins, even the Guard bouncing back versus a hot-looking TSM to make the groups even better and the records even better within the groups so you qualifies to playoffs. I think this was actually overall, even though one-sided, super fun to witness to see what happens for the rest of the month.
So really quickly before we talk about the guards match this week,
Mhm.
let's very quickly talk LG EG because LG came into this match undefeated, right? Looking pretty
Good.
strong.
Yeah.
I think EG will come off a win against Sentinels here. So both teams, like you'd feel like are starting to, walk with a little bit of swagger into this matchup here.
Yeah.
Didn't quite get the closest result. I think Georgiamo kind of just fucked people up. I think he had at least 380 ACS in each map.
Yeah. Jogimo actually really fucked LG up on Bind. Potter was mentioning in an interview before they went live into the game, a pre-recorded one with the host, saying that they had something cooked up to try to make sure that they could shut down B-Dog on Bind, which they did. But this map right here was a very surprising one for me to see the return of Reyna. It's not necessarily a bad pick into the map. It's probably her best and only map in my eyes on Icebox. Some good ideas in terms of maybe one round where they flashed off a wall to get into the B site, but aside from that, they were getting shut down a lot, unfortunately, there for LG, which, again, 2-0 in the group, very great wins throughout the groups, and you thought this was going to be, quote-unquote, like an easier match for them to make it to playoffs with a guaranteed 3-0, and we saw the opposite.
Yeah, I mean, not a lot to say on Bind here as well. I think that's where you sort of feel like Jorgamo is doing some serious work. I mean, 10-2 half, I think this ends up being. So, yeah, not great
Yep.
for LG. What the hell's going on with LG?
I don't know, man. MC, you got the scrim bucks to let us know?
I think they just had a difficult week of practice, and like I think EG's a lot better than people give them credit for. These guys are, together. They're. I feel like a couple of them are energy players. That it's like, if the energy in the room is good, they perform well, and these guys have not stopped performing well. So it's like them being together is really good. And then Jaws obviously has been popping off for like the past month and a half straight,
Yep.
and Boostio has really fit in, and they're running this super aggro double, like, I mean, you call Chamber a Sentinel, but it's still a duelist style of play, and they're making it work really well with Calm's little, set plays they had on a crew and stuff like that. He's brought a
Yep.
lot of structure to this team, and I really believe he's why they look so good.
Yeah.
Mm.
Great fade on Bind. The wall bang that he also had on Icebox when they planted for B Heaven. That was like an off the cuff call though. I wish we had that round. I should have given it to Ian and Daniel, but nonetheless, you guys have to watch that VOD. It was actually quite cool. It was a 2 versus 1. They pinged a spike, he wall bangs it, gets the kill on the diffuser, and then he wins on the spike blowing up.
Yeah,
so.
he wallbangs from tube, right?
Exactly
Some
into B
filthy
Heaven.
fucking
Some sick
angle.
shit, man. That's like one of the fun plays that you like to see, and like the new little gimmicks that somebody like Calm is able to bring into the roster is quite nice. For a team that doesn't look like an all-star team, they definitely have like some great structure into their plays.
So, been a couple months, been a well for the guard coming into this
Yeah.
match here. Obviously, starting 0-2 like isn't great, but there's a lot of like volatility going on. Clearly, based on this week's results in that particular group or both groups actually. So, can you tell us, MC, like where you sort of feel like the slump sort of originates from? In a high level sense, I guess.
It's weird because I think a lot of it goes back to the OpTic game. That like if we didn't choke map 3, you potentially see a entirely different Iceland result for us.
Yep.
That we would have been in a better spot. The Paper X game, it felt like we were playing not to lose. I like chalked that one up to a lot of inexperience and then just playing like a phase on crack basically, because like we don't get that play style as much here in North America anymore, except for like a couple teams, and the teams that run it aren't as individually talented as what Paper X is. Like if you look at that game, Jing just absolutely killed us. I mean, he 4K'd I think 3 of the 4 pistols and was just on fire the entire match. So it's like they just absolutely murdered us on the maps or whatever. So like coming in, we had the new meta, we talked about it and tried to decide like what we thought would be best going forwards. And we kind of got baited a little bit by practice results in terms of what was happening. But even during the group draw, and Kaplan can back me up on this, like there are certain teams I didn't want in our group, and I was like, I don't care what team we get, as long as like I don't want 100 Thieves and I don't want Ghost. Those were like the two teams in our group. I was like, I don't want either of those because I have a lot of respect for Mike's HD and just the players they picked up. I felt like they upgraded well.
Yeah.
And I think NA in general, even before Iceland happened, all the upgrades that were happening were the right pieces for the right teams for the meta and everything. And we've talked about it a couple times that we're like, NA just literally got better overnight because the right people got on the right rosters. And theoretically, if they could play well together, it would work.
Mhm,
And I
mhm.
think you're seeing that now. And this meta is a bit more like equal. There's a lot less thinking, I think, that happens where
Mhm.
it's like Astra, you kind of had to know the timings, you had to exploit the timings, you had to like not get caught by stuff like that to be successful. Where now it's like you can literally just pick A B and like win the game
Yeah.
on a lot of these games. So it's very frustrating. But also, we don't have a like top class Raze player. I think we're one of the only top teams that doesn't have one. Sia's Raze is good, but it's not as good as his Jet. Where I think he has a world class Jet.
Yeah, we definitely saw that.
Is that
Yeah,
Sentinel's issue as well? Do you feel?
I don't know. Because I don't know. Like, I still think Tins is comfortable and pretty good on Raze, despite all the flack that he gets.
Okay.
Mhm.
But it's like, do they want to play it? Like, we don't see them run the fade, and I think the meta where it's working now is if you have a strong Raze, you get to play fade, and there's a lot of combinations and stuff you can do with that, or KO, or any damage source for the the suck that
Like a
fade
Molly kind of thing. Yeah.
has. Yeah. So, and since we don't run the fade or the raise, like fade for us is a little bit more rough to run on maps and things like that. So we didn't get that much time to try it out, and we went a different way in comps that we thought would work. And like I said, got baited a little bit by practice results. And then at the end of it, we were just like, we need Sia's help to get into sites to because like sometimes we have people that bait a little bit on the team that it's like Sia making that space for us makes our lives a lot easier. So no matter what he's playing, we need him on an entry agent.
Mhm, mhm.
You guys had some role swaps. Is that
Yes.
correct? Yeah. Tell us a little bit about that. And obviously, you kind of reverted them, right?
Yeah. Jonah used to play duelists on teams before and did okay. And I wanted to see like if we could have Raise out of him where we could put Sia on the op because Sia's op is
Insane.
outrageous. Some
Yeah.
of the stuff that like him on chamber, he is a top level chamber when the game comes to him.
Mhm,
Like his opping ability on that agent, it's crazy to watch because it's like uh net on chamber is more of a safe playing chamber where it's like he's either going to get one or he's going to get out. He very rarely risks the TP like some of the other chambers that it's like they'll kill one, kill a second, and then maybe they'll TP. Net is like if he's in any trouble at all, he TPs, which is like how we wanted him to play chamber originally. So like putting Sai on chamber where like he's going to draw out the TP the longest possible. Like he's literally out in the open half the time, reloading his op, looking at like the area he just opt, and he knows the timing so well that like if the person swings in that timing, he's going to hit his TP.
mhm.
So like he doesn't lose lines as much. We keep more map control with the chamber like that, and just Saya being better on the op than what Mike was. It worked well for us in theory.
Mhm.
Um, and then we decided to switch a couple things. We weren't comfortable with one of the comps, so we tried Mike on breach net, and net is a really good breach. He likes to play it in ranked, and at one point he was like, yeah, if you want me to play breach, I'm confident playing breach. And I think net's breach is really, really good. And so we tried that for a little bit, and again we had Saya on chamber and Jonah on jet because we were stealing a comp that beat us in Europe.
Mhm.
That like we wanted to play a certain way, and we played like that, and it showed in the ghost match. We were very like prepared on the set.
Mhm.
So we wanted to normalize roles, so we tried to move people into playing as little agents as possible.
Yeah.
Where net was just breach on every map, Saya was chamber on every map, and then Jonah filled our duelist role and
Respect,
things
yeah.
like that. But we had issues getting into sight. Jonah wasn't as decisive as what Saya is, or as crazy sometimes. That it's like sometimes you just need your duelist to like send it, and there's no
Mhm.
hesitation. And we
Yeah.
were kind of lacking that from time to time. So that's
Too much
why,
self-preservation
yep,
instincts.
ultimately we went back to the other comps and
Mhm.
like switched some other stuff back to original things and mixed it
Yeah.
with current meta.
Even that actually going into it because I think you nailed it. Saya likes it when the game comes to him, so now that he gets to play a jet, he gets to bring the action to those sites when he's opening. And I did notice that when Jonah P was like trying to dash into sites on Haven against the guard, he was stopped very easily by what the guard had.
That match doesn't count. That match does not count. I hate all these fucking analysts and casters and shit that are watching this match and they're like, "Oh yeah, it would have been different if Saya was on the edge." Did you fucking watch the game? Like, oh my god, like they played a super heavy defensive side.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
We went into it and it's like, yeah, we could have sent Saya in to die instead of Jonah. Like, holy fuck, that was not Jonah's fault. Like, we loaded into that match, saw that comp, and we're like, holy fuck, this half's gonna be rough. That was like, because you see the champions, and I was like, if they can play this even half as good as I think they're gonna be able to, retakes are gonna be like impossible to hold. Like, and live adaptation, we've never played a comp like that. Our Haven looked good that week, and we come into that, and it's just drastically different how you have to play it. I still think if we win pistol, our defense, we run it back. And I know that sounds crazy, but like I've seen it. We averaged 10 rounds against Fades on our defensive side, and we played Ghost again, and ran it up on the defensive side against them. So like I know it could have happened, and then we choke pistol. Like a proto hits a really good shot, our comms are cluttered, and like we just we lose.
Yeah.
But I'm so sick of people being like, "Oh yeah, this is like they couldn't get the entry space." It's like we were in sites all the time. Like the problem was not getting into the site half the time. The problem was like what the fuck happened after we had the site.
Yeah.
I've actually seen that a lot. Just real. Obviously, I'm casting a lot, listen to a lot of analyst desks, watch a lot as well, and the amount of times if you just simply, it's not even scoreboard analysis, because if you look at the scoreboard, you'll see that they planted, or if you look at just quickly flick through the rounds, they'll be like a team's got opening duels, and then people are lazy and they're just like, oh yeah, they just couldn't get in there. It's like, well, if you look at the stats, they fucking could. They got in there 9 times out of 12, but they couldn't hold on to it was the problem. So I think it's quite funny hearing you say that, because it's been, I know myself and Tom watched a lot of games together, and we're just sat there like, what the fuck are you saying?
Yeah, sometimes I like it. They do a good job most of the time, but like that match in particular, everyone was like, "Oh, if Sai was on Duelist, this would have been different." It's like that. Yeah, that could be true. We might have won 2 rounds or 3 rounds, but like Ghost played the Armageddon comp.
That's
like they literally played the Armageddon comp, and like if we got to defense side with more than 1 round, we would have won that game.
Yeah.
Like,
no, I get it. I was getting into like the way that they plan into that, right? So when it's triggered by an alarm bot by the fucking chamber, then you have the stars coming down, then you have the fucking fade snatch coming in, and all of that. Even if Jonah's able to get to his site, everybody else cannot get in because it's split off. Is what I'm getting to. Like that was getting shut down a lot. But I think also what I wanted to get to was all of that went also into you guys switching back to a Killjoy as well, when you put Saya player back onto a Jet. So talk me through a little bit about that thought process of not putting Net back onto the chamber as well.
I feel like I shouldn't talk about it, but basically,
you don't have to.
Yeah, basically it comes down to information. I think all these teams with chamber have giant holes in their defenses, so they're gambling way too hard on different things. And we're a team that plays well off information. If we can do our setups, the turret and the alarm bot makes it to where on maps we can have control over 3 areas instead of 1 with the chamber. And the chamber, we don't know if the chamber is literally right behind the trip, just like waiting for one of us to mess up and like come into the open, So it's, the turret is worth its weight in gold, ignoring everything else in the kit, because the turret can hold down, 2 or 3 angles at once. So if they've pushed into an area. Like that's a huge amount of information. And, versus the chamber alarm bot trip, even if there's not somebody behind you or anything like that, you're constantly worried that somebody is behind you. Because you assume the other team knows what they're going to do the correct play, whatever, and it's like, oh shit, garage is open. So like instead of playing a setup how we normally would play it, or even pre-chamber we would play it, we decided to go back to where we can control multiple lanes of information, and that way we can rotate and be more in the right spots at the right time.
So let's talk a little bit about Icebox. Obviously pretty competitive, a pretty solid first half, I think, on Haven for you, kind of paves the way, right, getting those 8 rounds, which is a stark contrast to that Ghost matchup, to be fair. Heading over to Icebox feels like almost feels like a bit of back to basics. You've got the Sage Killjoy set up here, going up against like the Omen Chamber look from TSM. Tell us a bit about how this went for you guys.
We were just supremely confident on this map. Like I said, we played some teams on this and did exceptionally well. And again, it comes down to information. With Chamber, you're either tripping kitchen every round. Well, it's like, well, they can lurk under tube, they can lurk up, mid to A, they can shock that, and we have no information anyways. So like, we always had to dedicate a person to middle, and it's like, now with this, we don't have to do that. We have multiple lanes of information, which allows us to be in the on the right sites or whatever more often than not. And it shuts down lurks a lot of the time. That it's like we don't have to worry about that late mid to A lurk that is so common because we still have a turret up. We have alarm bot up. We have somebody looking at it. We have like all these different things, and it helps us move more around the map and be in the right spots. That's the whole purpose of going back
Right.
to the killjoy.
Playing off information, which you guys
Yep, we excel
prefer
at.
to do. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You go, Vance. I was gonna move on.
No, I was just gonna add one more, another question to like, how do you reply to like the armchair analysts like myself sometimes, where everybody went back to the basics. Trent went back to a Sova. He's fucking kicking ass as a Sova, as we saw a great clutch round on the Haven as well. What does that say about the Guard in terms of the following weeks, or the comparison of you guys versus the current meta? Are we going to see some switches into the next few weeks? Are you guys trying something different?
I think the thing that people don't understand in terms of fans and analysts or casters or whatever, like, you don't see practice ever. You only see matches. We could
Correct.
play a neon comp or these different meta comps or whatever, and they work for other teams and they understand how to play them. But we play them through a week of practice and we're just like, guys, I don't know if we can do this with this little time. Like, nobody understands the time crunch that like most of these teams are under. And with us being one of the newest or most new teams in the scene, like, we don't have stuff to fall back on. Valen had never played anything besides Astra up until like when the Astra changes came.
Yeah.
Like versus you have Marved, FNS, like OpTic, for example. These guys have played through almost every meta in Valorant.
Yeah.
They've been through everything. Where it's like, we didn't even have guys on teams. I mean, when half these metas were a thing. So it's like, we're still learning it. I was later in the game as well. I'm still learning some of these things. And like, we try some of these things, but it's like, it comes down to a comfort level. That it's like, are you going to play the neon comp where Saya is like, I am comfortable with this, but I'm better on Jet? Or are you just going to play the Jet comp because you know you can win with it? So it's like, moving forward, when we have more time and things like that, like if we have to play LCQ, things like that, you're going to see drastic comps out of us. I mean, even now, depending on maps, you're going to see drastic comp differences from us.
Yeah.
So it's like, we just haven't seen those maps yet. Like, if they pick certain maps, you're going to see like what we've been planning or things like that. But until those maps get picked, like, let's just say we play Fracture every week for 5 weeks, and like we play Bind Fracture every week, 5 weeks. You're only going to see 2 comps out of potentially, 7 maps, 7 comps. So yeah, there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes in terms of teams that are trying these Yoru comps, trying these Neon comps, trying Fade, trying all these things, and you don't get to see that. And one of the things that sucked for us was we had a little bit of extra time because we didn't have to play the qualies, but every team in the qualies couldn't play Fade. So we couldn't practice Fade against any of those teams the entire time leading up to group stage.
Right.
Because they wanted to play old patch to have their best chance at qualifying or whatever. So there's a lot less time you have than what people think, because it's like, again, you have 7 maps.
Yeah.
If you're playing 7 scrims a day, which there's not I don't think there's a team that does that, because like that's a lot. We played 6 last week to try to get back, and like we were dead mentally. So it's like, that is 1 map per day on that map. That is like, in a week, if you play 7 days a week, which no team does, we do 6. Like, you're getting, 7 reps on each map if you played, or 6 reps on each map if you played 7 scrims a day. Most teams play 4 or 5. So like, there's a lot less time in between to be able to change things, and I don't think people understand that, because it's like, oh, we need to work on this. It's like, well, the veto. Like, bullshit. Half these teams, we don't know the veto. They're new rosters, they're new comps. We have no idea what they're gonna do.
Mhm.
You have an idea, but you're still preparing for like 5 maps, sometimes 6 maps, depending on what happens. So
Of course.
there's not as much time as what people think.
So you're telling me that there's a possibility we're going to see, hopefully, the guard on Split or Breeze this group
We
stage.
yeah, well, yes. I mean, like it, we play all 7.
Yeah.
The thing is, it's like if we play a team that like their Breeze is nuts, you look at Ghost. Ghost
Yeah.
Breeze is one of their better maps. Like they
Yeah.
just showed that against XSET, who Breeze is one of their best maps in my opinion, or it used to be. So
Mhm.
it's like, why would we give them their best map? Like we're comfortable on the other ones, like we're good on Breeze, but it's like these guys have a lot of depth on Breeze, so like why?
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
uh
that's a
yeah.
free segue for me. Thanks, because 100 Thieves and XSET obviously take each other on this week. Where 100 Thieves come off against that? They lost against TSM, right? So little shaky coming into this week. XSET are undefeated. XSET choose Breeze, unsurprisingly, and they get their fucking asses whipped on this map. It's fucking brutal.
Also
Oh
there was
man.
Energy and Ghost, not my I got the teams mixed up.
Oh,
100
gotcha.
Thieves beat XSET. But yeah, I mean these maps in this meta, it's like if you lose pistol and you lose first gun, like you're down 5-0.
Mhm.
Like most of the time, that's how your match is going to start if you lose pistols. So like pistols have been, pretty crucial. And, some of these teams, they're getting a week to prepare with, 17 different coaches to look at matches. Like you don't think they're going to have an idea of like how to play you in that week or like have some form of tell or gimmick or whatever. Like you're kidding yourself. Where it's like 100 Thieves has done their homework. They look good on this. They looked for, certain tells and they had an idea of what they wanted to do and they executed it.
Mhm.
Like they it comes back to like when you play teams, like for us on Breeze, we have one Breeze game ever. If you take us on Breeze, how are you going to prepare? You don't even know what comp we're going to run. You don't know
Yeah.
what we're doing. So like being able to pull that stuff out is, super super strong in the situation, but it's like these teams are way better than people think. Like
Mhm.
everybody in group A, like it does not matter who is playing that week, they're probably going to lose or like win and it doesn't matter. Flip a coin, fucking go for it. Like 100 Thieves is in my opinion, the best team in the group. And then XSET is up there as well, where
Mhm.
XSET might do better in playoffs than 100 Thieves, but like you're giving Sean Garris and Mike's a week on each team to specifically plan, like good fucking luck. Like,
Yeah.
this is dream format for those guys. Plus, they have stupid talented players. Like Bang looks like a fucking monster,
Yeah.
and like you know, arguably the supporting cast of 100 Thieves has been stepping up more than like the main people, and like that's
Mhm.
great to see from them. And they don't get enough respect. Like none of these teams in any group get enough respect. That it's like the top of NA right now just looks good across the board.
Definitely. There was definitely some sleeper stuff going on there from like the stellar pick. People weren't really comfortable or agreeing to even Will coming into the team, and Will was on something different in that series against XFIT as well. He just popped off, I think, even on Breeze. Even if they had a certain game plan for XSET starting on the starting attack, Will just fucking comes in with triple kill retakes quite often for the
Yep.
team. It was just an insane. Like it's one of those rare moments in that week for this weekend where I hate being the type of person that says, "Oh, it's all about the duels and stuff like that too." At the end of the day, but like if you're looking at 100 Thieves with Will, if you're looking at how Ghost played with Nismo, which we'll talk about later, it's all about these guys just winning their duels, and even FaZe versus C9. There's like so many wish shots that happened in that game, but overall, I think 100 Thieves are definitely looking quite awesome moving forward into the rest of the groups for playoffs.
Yeah, I mean I had said this before the groups happened that I didn't think there was going to be a single 0 loss team in our group
Mm-hmm.
before any matches happen. And I thought
Yeah.
the only teams that might be able to go 0 loss or 1 loss were Energy or 100 Thieves.
Yeah.
I felt like XSET 100% making playoffs. Are they going to lose one match? Are they going to lose 2 or whatever? Like, yeah, I believe that. But like, there wasn't a world in which I thought 100 or XSET would miss playoffs in this group.
What was
Yeah.
it about NRG that made you think that they might go lossless?
They just looked really good. Plus, you have honeymooning. Plus, you have very talented. Like they have arguably the most firepower out of all those teams. In like the things that they have. They have good coaching. They have good ideas. They have good players. Like everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's like that is why I felt like Energy was like poised to do this, and they looked so good coming into it that you know, did they play the best teams over and over? No, but like they still didn't drop a map. Like that is very impressive going through all that and that not happening, because playing those open qualifiers, every single team you play, you have a, you know, a target on your back. They're like, oh, if I beat this team or take a map or I do well, like I might impress enough to get, you know, noticed by someone else. So like
Mhm.
every single time you play a team, it doesn't matter if they're ranked 128th or, you know, 15th. Like they're going to play you as hard as they can. And
Agreed.
sometimes the community or whatever doesn't look at that or take that into account either.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. We talk about the second half on Bind, if you guys can cast, or at least Vance, you can cast your memory back to this one, because I think 100 Thieves start like 1 to 6,
Mhm.
you know, on their attacking half. Managed to
Right.
scrape a few more together, actually, and it sort of come alive towards the end of that first half. But that second half is when they really start to pop off a little bit here.
Yeah.
You know, obviously Bang's having a huge game on the Brimmy.
Yeah, I think Bang did a great job. Like, just there was like one round where he anchored towards the B site, playing under the window. This was like their bonus round, going into that second half, and he just gets a 4K on that one too. There was another round where he pushes into showers off a combination of Derek, and I think that's the important thing too. 400 Thieves on our defense was like it was a lot of like a dual combination between Bang and Derek to anchor for information with a Sage Wall, or a push into showers with slow orbs on if they switch sites, and then the other three guys will work in tandem of Will, Stellar, and Asuna. And I think that didn't allow XSET to get too much early map control, or even penetrating into like the entrances of either sites. They just had some great anchor plays from the way that they played their Viper and their Sage on the extremities. But Bang was the one that definitely rolled up for a lot of these kills too, as an anchor player. And it's great to see, especially as a young fragger that's playing from home, by the way, while everybody else is like boot camping at the AT&T facility. So for me, Bang has become, in my eyes, like under that spotlight of like that Zekin for XSET, pretty much for 100 Thieves. They're looking really good with that addition.
yeah, and I mean, their comp, Exit's comp looks harder to play on attack than defense. You know, you lose the power of the chamber as much. Like you don't have the Viper wall for the lurk, so you are potentially a little more obvious in terms of that. But like, you know, again, 100 Thieves had ideas and plans, and you saw them execute it. You saw them, you know, fight for certain control, or when things happened, they reacted well. Like they are very well versed on what was happening, and they're like, okay, we're gonna do this, and then couple that with Bang just playing lights out. Like Derek wasn't even trying this match, and they won.
Nope.
Like that is like the crazy thing about all these teams now, and it's the same with Ghost. It's the same when we built our team. What the hope was, every one of these teams have 5 people that can step up and take over a game in NA on every single team, pretty much. Where it's like people can have off games, people can get shut out, and you know teams are still successful. So like that's the biggest change in NA from this season to last season, is you had, you know, borderline liabilities on teams before that. It's like, you know, if this guy got 10 kills or 12 kills, like you were happy with that. And then now it's like every single person on every team can just drop 20 or 30 or whatever and carry. So like the firepower has been upgraded, and I think people are understanding the game more, and this meta plays more, in my opinion, to firepower than anything. Where it's like you can have these traps, you can have this teamwork or whatever, but if you guess wrong and they run up, guess what? They just took the site by running through a smoke and winning their gunfights. So now you get a retake against all of this util, and you know that's what happened to us on Fractured one round. Like 100 Thieves, literally 3 men walked through a smoke and caught us off guard. And instead of them using any util on the take itself, it's like now they get to use it for retake. So there's a lot of situations that, you know, add to the variance and stuff like that. But like all these guys are so capable of winning gunfights that it makes it so much harder to play the game on your defense side, on your attack, on everything. So
Does it have anything to do with the fact that the sort of controllers got, you know, nerfed slightly, or is there something else that can contribute to this more run and gun or like fundamental style?
Astra, literally,
Astra, yeah.
yeah, the nerf of Astra. Astra was such a powerful controller that even if you take the suck away, she can always pop stars for her teammates. And it is so much easier to play around site if you have a star up someplace. Where Omen or Brim has to run over and drop it. Even the travel time through the air is going to be that added, you know, half second or whatever, and that's the difference in a lot of these executes.
Yeah.
Like you getting crunched or you having a safety net of a smoke to play around, to run into, to run out the other side to cause, panic. Without that smoke, a lot of the time you're dying on site. And Omen, that is a huge change from Omen to Astra, where it's like you have so many little plays like darting B main on Ascent, and you pop the smoke, your player runs inside of it, and they try to get a kill off the dart. You can't do that with Omen. Like you have to specifically set that play up, versus if you just have that star there with Astra, it's instant. Anytime
Yeah.
you want to do something, you can do things like that. And so
Yeah.
plus how powerful the suck was, and that you would get it back up, multiple times in a round, versus now
Exactly.
it's like
30 seconds.
7 minutes, you get it for the last round of the half and use it in the pistol round. Like plus the lack of a star, like it changed the game a lot.
Yeah.
In terms of how the speed and everything of how
She
it was
kept
played.
everyone in check, didn't she?
Yes.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
what it makes it important, or like you're noticing a lot of these like set and pop plays that are very important now. Like double initiators are able to play 4 flashes, neon walls on top of that, so for some comms where you can flash across those things. Breach becoming even more important as well, because not only he has a flash, but even now an aftershock to flush out corners. Like that just booms any type of anchor player inside sites, where now you really have to understand a little bit more on the defender side and guess where that hit is coming, so that you could actually stack the right numbers, or figure out ways where you have a comp that's very strong at a retake if you have to give up a site, which is what, for example, Ghost has been doing very well.
Yep. And Fade, that's something Fade excels at, is
Yeah.
retaking. Like Fade's strength, in my opinion, is for retaking sites. Like the Prowler takes half a magazine from an Odin to kill one of the dogs. Like it's crazy. And the field of view when it does spot you is so far away.
It's huge.
Like you can be on top of, double stacked boxes, and like it still sees you up there and stuff. So like there's a lot of weird things like that. Plus, you get to clear a whole area. Even if you throw the suck and it doesn't hit, if you threw it right and it had line of sight, that you can effectively clear areas without that being there. So it's like, you're worried about someone being behind a box, you just throw it, and if it clears, no one's behind that box. So it makes your retake slightly easier. Plus the location of the eyes are, random every single round. People aren't used to it. Like typically you're used to Sova darts being in certain areas. Like Fade Eyes completely changed stuff like that. So people are still figuring it out, but like her retake ability is incredible.
Yeah. I think what's strong about it too is her haunt, which is the eye, by the way, which is like a replacement to the sonar bolt. Usually with that dart, if nobody shoots it, it pings 3 times, right? But even one single ping is good enough for all that information to get. For
I mean,
for
recon
level.
ball, right?
Recon ball, yeah. What did I
Yeah,
say?
yeah.
The stoner dart.
Yeah. Yeah, you said sonar dart, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's what
Valorant
Riv
cast
calls
by
it.
the
So I was
way.
like, sonar dart. It got in my head too.
Dude!
What's sick
Well,
about that
alright,
though, the haunt, just real quick, is the fact that you can put it up on the roofs, right? Like,
Anything,
that's
yeah.
If it had to go into the site, it'd be tough enough, I think, sometimes, because you see it coming, one bullet, it's so easy. It's like a Reyna eye, even easier to take down. But when it comes to you're just staring, holding an angle, shit's on a roof way up behind you. You don't know what's going on. It's
Combined
really
with the
nice seeing that
flash,
combo
it's
with
fucking
smokes
strong.
and stuff.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Is it even worth talking about this Sentinels OpTic game? Really?
Yes.
Yeah, man.
All right. Let's go. Let's talk about it. Obviously, they had this situation for Sentinels where they have to have some subs in here.
Yep.
So obviously Danny and Raucous have to sort of step in because Tens is sick. Tens is sick and Sick has a family emergency. So pretty unfortunate. I think Tens did sort of tweet that King and Kaide, I think, tested positive for COVID.
Yeah.
Obviously,
Right, so-
this is a segment into Tens going back to Cloud9.
That would be awesome. And then Raucous
Good
had to play on
lord.
COVID, by the way, apparently.
Yeah,
So,
Raucous also had COVID. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's brutal out there.
Yeah.
Right.
Not
Yeah.
the best of days.
Everyone's getting rolled. Raucous even had like I think a 3K clutch to like keep his team alive in the second map, I think it was. But
Yep.
yeah. So all right. So what then can we glean from this? For someone
Watch
who's like,
Sentinels with full roster. That's the biggest thing. Is obviously I think OpTic wouldn't have been taking it as seriously. I don't know that. I didn't watch this match that closely.
sure.
But like I'm telling you from playing them, wait until Sentinels can play again. They've looked good in practice when we've played them. It could just be that we suck though, keep in mind. But it's like there is a drastic difference between what Sentinels was when we played them last season and now. Like, I don't know if their confidence is back, if they just decided we're better than everyone and we're going to swing you and prove that. And that's like their game plan for a lot of these things. But like, they look drastically better again. Like, they're a very tough team to play right now. They're, on form in practice at least and hitting shots. And like, I would have really liked to see this match if everybody got to play. Like, because of what happened in practice, like the week leading up to this. So, like, yeah, people shit on this team all the time. Like, if they get it back together, like even are slightly on, like this is still one of the better teams in NA.
Yeah. Even for me, when I was like just theory crafting of maybe an agent composition change between Sentinels, like not even roster changes, when it's like, okay, well, let's try different gambles. The Guard have been trying different comps, moving with the meta, wasn't working out. You go with your comfort picks, works well. Sentinels have been playing their comfort picks for quite a while. It hasn't been working well. Now backs are against the wall. Let's try something different. And then one of my theories is trying to see, 10s on a chamber so that he could still have that aggressive position that he does on defender side as he does on Jet. And when I saw Shazam come out with a chamber on Fracture and then Kempeke coming out with the Neon, I was like, oh shit, man, this would have been so cool because technically Shazam would be your breach guy on Fracture. So there was a possibility that it was maybe somebody like 10s on chamber and they're trying something new here for Sentinels. So if they were in full strength, it would have been cool to watch because even on that second map against OpTic with 2 subs, with a coach and a guy that hasn't played like a year and a half, and who currently, by the way, has just joined a free agent team and are looking for sponsorship. But that said, they still put OpTic in a situation where they had to go for a timeout on the second map. So that's already a big win. Like plugging it out or playing it with certain confidence, despite who you have, nothing to lose, and they're still able to force a timeout out of OpTic. For me, from the outside world that doesn't have the scrimbucks, it gives me hope into seeing how Sentinels
won both
at a full
They
strength.
won both pistols and got 8 rounds though. So I mean, when you put it that way,
I mean, it's still probably the
pretty
best
bad.
bind team in the world, though, in
Yeah.
retrospect. So, like, getting 8 rounds on bind against OpTic is still like pretty
yeah, I
impressive in
suppose all
itself.
things. Yeah, I think that.
I mean, I
bottom
know
line is,
you
though,
refuse to accept that they won the last tournament, but like they are still one of the arguably like top teams in the world right now.
Hey, listen,
and that is
I
one
was-
of their best maps.
I was rooting for the Guard at that event. Let's not forget who my
Hey,
prediction
I
was to
was
win.
too. Honestly,
You
I
were?
thought those
Oh,
I
shit.
thought those guys could do pretty good at that tournament.
Oh my god.
Like I had some behind the scenes knowledge of that team, and they looked really good in practice against the Gambits of the world and the Sens and everything, and then unfortunately we mess up and execute and we end up going home. So learning experience.
Spaghetti. Yeah. We've only got mCe for a little bit longer, so I want to quickly move on and talk about
Let's do
this
it, yeah.
FaZe C9 Blue game. A game that looked pretty heavily predicated on a lot of aim dueling between these teams, which
Yeah.
I guess kind of
FaZe
it
wouldn't
maybe
do that. I know
feels
them
like it
personally.
suited the old FaZe. You would have suited the old FaZe extremely well. Was that the case here, though, gentlemen? Obviously, this is C9. Obviously, moving, Vanity into a position to sort of cover for the sort of departure of Zeta here, and they're getting Kari acclimated. What are our sort of takeaways here?
Fucking put Vanity on smokes. What the fuck are you doing? Like I understand like his impact, he can move around or whatever, but like he was already a good smokes player. Like if anything, I think Cloud9 potentially struggles with like roles a little bit now, but then again,
Yeah.
it can just be like sometimes you play matches and you just lose. Like it happens. It's hard in this game to be consistent to stay at the top, but like you're allowed to fail every now and then, And I look at this week that like FaZe came in with new comps, I think. I don't think they'd run the Neon yet on some of these maps. They ran it really well. Baby Bay looked very comfortable on Neon and had a ton of impact. Dicey in this meta on Chamber is still fucking outrageously good. Like
Yep.
these are good maps, good metas for like FaZe. And I think, it comes down to Cloud9 still potentially getting used to stuff. And also potentially trying to cater their play-in stuff to be more successful against, in general, where like maybe they got caught off guard by FaZe. You never know. FaZe also has really good game plans. They have good traps. They have good players. It's not like FaZe is bad, guys. Like
Yeah.
any of these teams, if you have a even remotely off day, guess what? You're gonna lose. That's part of it.
Yeah.
So it's like, go ahead.
Is Neon the perfect pick for someone like Baby Bay? Does he not have such a suitable mentality for
Yes.
this
Just
stage?
fucking zooming. Like, I mean, yeah.
It's not even a Zoomer anymore. That motherfucker's on the wrong side of 25, if I'm not mistaken.
No, I meant the agent itself is zooming.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, it's, you know, you've got a guy that's 29, bald, with a kid in a restaurant that has the best stats in North America. So, like, you know, it's just, yeah. I mean, age does not matter. I think the age predication in esports
He's
comes
25.
from.
He's
Yeah,
young as
well, I
fuck,
mean,
yeah.
I think the age
He's
thing
like,
is
yeah,
bullshit.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
people's ideas change in life. You're not as motivated as you get older with things like that. Potentially, your interests shift. That's why you don't see older players.
Mm.
Obviously your reaction time and stuff can fall off, but it's not as drastic as people make it out to be.
Yeah.
It's just, are you going to put in 12 hours a day to keep up with this 14-year-old that's coming up? Or, you know, do you want to have a family? Do you want to move on? Do you want to do these things? So, like, people like Nismo and Pwn
Says
Alone and
both.
CS
Yep.
and, you know, so I mean, Kerrigan, all these guys, it's like, you still can be super good. Age does not matter. And sometimes having an older guy for all the young guys is really important in these rosters.
That's
I
always
feel like this has been a
sports.
therapy session for Vans and Mitch. They're loving this. They're like, tell us more. Yeah, we can still
Mate,
play, right?
You would not believe the shit I fucking managed to get done in a day. It just, none of it involves me being any good at video games anymore. That's the issue.
That's why I'm still sticking around, like trying to like help people cast as much as I could, you know, because you know, whenever I'm gonna be replaced,
Why don't you fucking help yourself cast, motherfucker?
I'm trying, man.
He's too busy in Vietnam. He's exploring the world. There's the interest shifting right there. Example. He wanted to ride a motorcycle and take a shower, get out, and need to take another shower immediately because the humidity.
Matt, I was
so
fucking
bad.
casting VCTs at 4 in the fucking morning in Vietnam. I'm dedicated to my craft.
Yeah. All right,
we
MC,
appreciate you.
we'll let you go, brother. We know you got stuff to do. Thanks a ton for your time. Thanks for your insight, and good luck to the guard going forward.
Yeah, man.
We will need it.
Thanks, Matt. Much love.
If you've been enjoying Valoranting, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you get every episode hot off the presses. All right, yeah, I mean, it's interesting. MCE said, like, I don't want to go against these teams in my group, and then bam, they end up in the guy's group. So obviously, brutal.
Way.
It's brutal. It's nice to see them bounce back though as well. And I think he adds a lot of insight in terms of talking about a lot of the intangibles, or the unseen elements. Unfortunately, you know, anyone in the chat who's heard that today is going to forget that tomorrow. We'll be back to rabid speculation, but it is what it is. So, we were sort of talking about this, right? Vanity, his position on this team now, that, you know, he's one of the best, one of arguably the best smoker in North America. You know, now playing sort of a bit more of a different role, the Breach, the Fade, for example, the Sova. We don't doubt the guy is capable of it, Vans, but do you feel like this team needs to have him in a better position? It feels like this team had no choice, but not trying to be funny, but it feels like they had no choice but to bring Curry on, because it's kind of fucked up their roles.
Yeah, I think so. Even for Vanity, again, I want to go back to mechanical things, and I'm not saying it's going to be that hard for Vanity, but if you're, for example, going to have to play a Fade on the second map, you're going to have to hold mouse 1 to just bring a Prowler out, do a setup and a lineup for your Haunt, and do a setup and a lineup for your C's, while still IGLing, trying to figure out everything that's currently happening in this fucking round here for FaZe executing into the sites. It's very hard to do as an IGL and still bring that impact as well. So if we're able to give that role as that second initiator for somebody else that could focus on using that utility and fragging, so that, very simply done, Vanity could just throw a smoke, a paranoia, come in and frag, good enough. And I think they'll be looking pretty okay, but there is, as Matt was saying, an identity issue overall with Cloud9 in my eyes as well, looking at that matchup. But it's not only on C9, and it's not only on those whiff shots that we saw from like Vanity from Mitch, because it also did happen, I think, for Flya in that matchup on Fracture. But it's the game plan that FaZe had going into this Haven matchup with the Neon. I don't think they were ready for that here for C9, bringing the Fade into their composition. It just wasn't enough in terms of the abilities that she has to support for a retake versus everything else that FaZe already has in their own composition for the Pulse plant, with the Breach, with the Neon, and all that other stuff. I feel that there was an opportunity to maybe see a little bit more evolution with that Fade, not only by having a raise that they already have, but by bringing Curry or somebody else to start playing in Astra, so they could actually start playing those trap plays and those over-aggressive utility usage dump on the retakes that Ghost does on that map. I think that would be very, very good for C9.
Let's move on here and talk about our last match of the week. It was NRG versus Ghost Gaming here. One that sort of started on Haven. And it was pretty close to begin with.
Yeah.
To begin with. Then Ghost Gaming got on defense and they just fucking shut the door.
That's what we keep saying. It's a very, very heavy defensive matchup. So whenever that team's going to go on defense, you have to make sure that hopefully you're putting enough rounds on the attack. And Energy, they also came in with a different plan. They're trying to, add a little bit more in terms of that double flash that we're talking about, but instead of doing initiators, they're doing it with a Yoru. And I was hoping to see a little bit more of like that Victor Yoru style where they had like these fake TPs and like the fake outs and to TP from one way to another to rotate, but it just wasn't enough. They used Som a lot for like the it was a lot of throw a decoy down towards long A, throw a flash down towards long A, get a gate crash TP away if there's no control or no pressure, and Ghost was just able to run around all of that all the time. And when you actually have somebody like Nismo that went like what plus 29 or something in that series, head on the fucking swivel, able to just turn around left and right, knowing where people are coming from and just headshotting everybody. That's fucking insane. It's so hard to fight against. And by the way, Hayes, another boomer, got a 4K in that round. These guys can still frag.
Yes. Yeah, they definitely can. We talked about it when we got all of our like
old guys.
Sort of, like, well, no, we had our obviously round. It was last week, right? We had our round table with a lot of our like trainers, physical therapists, stuff like that.
Yeah,
The only reason the stigma exists is because people don't fucking care of themselves and quote unquote age out. And there's a bunch of other reasons. They find other ways to, live their life without stressing, from victory to victory.
Yeah.
So, so Breeze's Energy's pick, right? They pick Breeze and they lose 8 rounds in a row to start off with. This Ghost Gaming team seems like incredibly tough nuts to crack on a lot of these sort of maps. Now, again, we talked about Breeze, and if the economy gets away from you, then the map does as well pretty quickly. But again, Nismo is 27 and 10. The fuck?
Yeah, like I said, this guy was fucking unstoppable.
Was he lurking a lot? Because he's only 2 and 1 in first kill, first death.
No, man, he's just fucking running into fragging, man. This guy's fucking insane. He's so good. Like I don't know, man. There's something about not only on Nismo playing so well, but like I've seen the evolution and a little bit more of Ghost of like how tidied up things are starting to become. Because I've mentioned before, like even going into the playoffs, I don't see Ghost making that of groups because Koala Noob overextends himself a lot on these defender rounds where he dies within like the first 5-10 seconds because he really wants to get that first blood. But now he escapes. He repositions. He plays around with his teammates. All around with a Proto, the way that he anchors around the site. You have Brock that's able to go with huge clutch plays. They have a really complete lineup in this roster for Ghost. I'm really liking what I'm seeing so far from this team, and now I'm a firm believer that they should be able to make it through the playoffs just from that alone, from what we've witnessed, in the first 3 weeks of groups.
Yeah, I mean, and MC was sort of talking about NRG quite. What the fuck? Just text things. He expected NRG to be a team that could possibly have gone lossless in this particular bracket, but I mean, this Ghost Gaming team is.
Nismo just drove by and headshot him in the fucking face when he's holding a fucking Tour de Force or whatever, an op. I don't even know. It was fucking insane.
Was that for Steel's benefit or for mine?
It's for everybody's benefits.
Okay.
Tour de Force, Tour de Force, Tour de Force.
Hey, this guy can speak French. What the fuck?
Yeah, c'est moi, bonjour. I mean, I got to represent Nismo, right? I did go to his restaurant. He does speak French as well. Met his whole family, too, at the restaurant. It was actually pretty dope.
That's dope.
He wasn't there. Yeah. He was practicing. He was actually like, you know what? I'm going to leave my parents, my brother. I'm going to chill and practice with my team just to make sure that we get the dub. And it works out. And now it makes the group even more interesting now that Energy just lost here to Ghost. The competition's going to be great to see who's going to be the 4 teams making it out of that group.
Here's really, Nismo really for you now. I mean, he's
what
plus
a Chad,
29.
Dude. What a Chad.
Yeah. Pretty all right. Yeah, I mean, this guy look like do not be fucking around. 394 ACS in that KO game on Breeze, by the way.
Yep.
Yeah, pretty insane stuff. Can we talk about it next week then? Because I think mCe said there's a chance that we get like a multi-way tie, at least in Group A, right? I think that's what you were saying. We got 3 teams 2 and 1, 3 teams 1 and 2.
Yeah.
In Group A, 100 Thieves Guard, which is definitely interesting. EG OpTic as well could actually be quite spicy. I mean, those are they are 1 and 2 right now in their group. FaZe Sentinels. I mean, Sentinels are not because the top 4 teams go forward in NA, Sentinels are not mathematically eliminated, but they're minus 27 in map differential. Hopefully they can get their players back in fighting form. There are no bad matches here. What the hell? These all look really
That's
good.
it. Chances are super slim for Sentinels, but it's still doable. I think I saw a scenario on Reddit where like OpTic has to go 5-0, FaZe has to lose against Cloud9, or sorry, FaZe has to lose against I forgot who it was, against Sentinels actually, and then another one going forward, and then it had to go into like not map differential, but round differential at that point. So no Sentinels, not only do they need to win, they need to win by a lot.
Yeah.
But who knows? I mean, we still have players that have COVID. Hopefully they'll be okay going into the next weekend, but there's still another scenario where they're going to have to play with 2 subs potentially over the next following weeks.
Yeah, okay. We'll have to see if those teams can sort of bounce back from that. So games we're looking forward to. I mean, one that sticks out to me is definitely the Guard versus XSET. Because the last time these 2 teams played, it was in Challengers 1, back in like late February, I want to say. And it was really close until XSET got fucked up on Fracture at the end of that series. So the Guard obviously managed to win that one 2-1. I'm pretty excited about this. So we're probably expecting to see Bind come up here, I suppose. At least XSET might try and play it. What's Guard's Instaban right now, or their permaban?
Oh, I can't really remember off the cuff because they play pretty much all the maps. I think they're playing towards vetoes, right? Because they play some Bind, they play some Haven. They could play Split. They haven't played Split or Breeze this stage so far.
Yeah, Breeze, I think they might be. I guess they're trying to avoid. I mean,
so
you can avoid 2 maps. So
yeah, but to what you were saying, there's a potential that you have a map rotation that's very even between these 2 teams. Comfortable on Bind for both of these teams. Very comfortable potentially on Split here for XSET. But we also said from mCe, like you heard it, that there's potential that they might see some Split in there, and they might have something cooked up for that too. So I think we're gonna play some fun vetoes right now into that weekend. Some hidden comps, some hidden strats from the Guard that we could potentially see against this team.
Yeah, I think it's the kind of week where we don't really know what this veto is going to look like. I don't even know, and like mCe said, I don't think even he knows what the veto might look like in that particular series, right? Because they haven't played Breeze or Split yet in challenges so far, and they're like a 30% defensive round win on Fracture at the moment. They're 0-2 on that map, I think. So, that one, it'd be interesting to see if that one sort of comes up for them. Anything else that you're looking forward to, Vans? Any other? What about EG OpTic? Is that whet your appetite?
Not really. I think the EG OpTic is going to be technically an OpTic game. I know that EG's been looking better and better, but OpTic is just too strong right now in these groups. I think overall, my big matchup would also be looking at C9 versus LG, because this is an opportunity again for LG to find their footing and continue to where they first started that group. And beat a C9 that seems a little bit more shaky, and that would actually potentially eliminate C9 out of contention, because C9 would be 1-3 there.
Yeah, this is and they sort of hate to be in that position. Cloud9 of all teams, but yeah, I mean, they're caught on the back foot right now with the changes happening with their roster midway through to a team not even in fucking challenges, no less. So like, there's no like net positive across the fucking challenges circuit right now. They just lost Zeta and Autumn, but okay, that's the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. After the break, we'll be back. Sliggy's going to be here. We're going to talk about EMEA. Lots to talk about. There were some matches that we didn't have a lot to talk about. Mitch is going to run us through those really quickly after the break, so stick around. When we come back, it's all things EMEA challenges.
If you've enjoyed the show, please like and subscribe, and make sure you hit the bell for the future noties, but also comment below with what you'd like to see in our future shows.
That's right. You're back. We're back. It's Valoranting time once more. Now Mitch gets to fucking talk about some shit. See,
time to mute my mic.
On you though. Joke's on you though, because Van's watched every EU VOD from this week. He's going to make it look so bad.
Oh, no worries. You know what, Vance? You take the segment, then I'm going to go grab my dinner. I'll see you in a bit.
All right, hold on. Let me open the
now,
VLR.
we know he's full of shit, by the way, because he'd fucking eat his dinner right where he is there. And
Damn it.
That is true. That is true.
Mitch don't. I think these motherfuckers don't even leave to pee just quietly. Thank God for framing. That's all I'm trying to say. All right. Well, let's crack into it. Yeah. Hey, I don't think they have Fanta here in America. Hey,
you guys don't have. This is Fanta lemon as well. Liquid's already yellow.
In Canada. We have Fanta in Canada. We have orange.
Yeah, nah.
A red
I don't
one.
think. Oh, you do. Okay, so I just haven't seen it then. My bad. Yeah. I always like wonder like what like us and like Ireland and the UK sort of have.
They don't have. They
Yeah.
don't have Foster beer. I think Uber.
That's actual dog water. Actual fucking dog water. You know how they got? All right, quick story. You know how they got Australians to drink that shit? Okay, so Australians really hate stereotypes of Australians. It's just fucking. Even though we are walking memes sometimes, right? We hate the fact that we are so close to what the stereotypes say. So when those Foster's ads came out, and the guy was like, "Oh yeah, I don't know, some dickhead at the beach or at the cricket or whatever," like, you know, and then every foreigner would fucking ask us if we drank Foster's. So
Yeah.
Australians stopped drinking it. Their sales fell off a cliff once they started marketing it overseas because we were so just like, fuck. So you know what they did? They took the Foster's and they put it in these bottles, like these more slender bottles with a gold foil label on it. They called it Crown Lager to celebrate Her Majesty's 21st visit to Australia or something like that. And like, it wasn't just like a, you know, commemorative thing. It was just sold all the time. And all these fucking absolute dickheads at the fucking races who had no idea what was in it would buy it because it thought it made them look rich. All these fucking moron Aussies would drink Crown Lager, which is just Foster's in a fancy bottle. There you go. I don't know what
my
this means.
God.
I guess because Aussies can't afford real beer now, so they have Foster's. Is that what? Like anything that's like overly Australiana to us is just like, bro, get it away from me. Like it's just, you know, because we're not that we're not patriotic. We're just like we're not patriotic for the same reasons that like someone from America is patriotic, like country and God. It's like no, we're patriotic about the fact that we're all chill and we're not psychos. Well, okay, some of us are, but you know that we're just. You know, a lot of the good things about our country that have nothing to do with government or like our origins, because there's nothing to be proud about there. We love it. Anyway, can you fuck this off? Would you? I don't know. There is no way.
Australian made for Texas. I love these titles that come along these pictures. So.
Oh, is that what it said? Made for Texas?
Yeah.
Yeah, because
anger.
you're fucking. I'm sorry if you're drinking that shit. You're a dumb cunt. You're just look at this guy. He's dressed like a digger. He's just like an Australian soldier.
Crocodile Dundee, isn't it?
Oh, is that? Oh, fuck me. Whatever. Anyway, let's move on.
You don't recognize a national hero. Jesus.
Yeah, man.
Mate. No. The only connection I have to Crocodile Dundee is fucking as a party trick impersonating him to try and impress people who are easily distracted by like anything that's overly Australian.
I would love
Most
it. Go on.
Aussies are
Can
like,
you do a
fuck
little?
that dickhead.
You call that a knife?
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? I will bust that out if I've had a few drinks. I won't lie.
Yeah.
But it's purely for my own benefit and not for anyone else's. So, you know. Anyway, let's move on.
I kind of like it.
Fans.
In a good segue.
Just happy to be here.
Fans. Yeah. Fans. All right. Let's bring Sliggy in here. He's been waiting in the wings listening to us be absolute morons. Obviously, huge pleasure to have Sliggy on the show as well. Obviously, well known for his tenure with Team Liquid and the results he was able to get there as well. And obviously, watch parties that were really enlightening to a lot of people. And you know, Sliggy really helping us teach people not to be scoreboard Stevens and how to sort of read the game. So obviously doing a service to us all there, Sliggy. Thanks for finally being able to be here, man. Great to have you.
Oh, yeah, thanks for having me. It was a long little segment there. I was waiting for a bit. You're off on a tangent, but yeah, not too bad. How's everyone doing?
I'm all right. Yeah, I'm better now.
Do you drink Foster's, Sliggy? You a big fan?
Not really. I actually don't drink that much anymore, so.
Yeah, same. But when I do, it has to be a Foster's. Gives me a good eye.
Foster's is why I don't drink much anymore, to be honest. I will say, if I'm out, if someone doesn't know me and they're like American, I've been offered a Foster's by someone who's trying to ingratiate themselves with me at like a gathering. And I'll just be like, no. Just fucking walk away. You know what I mean? Can't do it. Let's bring up our results here in week 3 of VCT EMEA because pretty exciting. We come into this week with the undefeated Liquid and Guild going head to head. So I know a lot of people were sort of pumped for that. And also Fnatic were hurtling towards a matchup with Ascend, who were also it was a battle of 2-2-0s in 2 different groups here. So definitely one of the most exciting weeks so far. Mitch, let's talk high level. Let's get the stinkers out of the way here before we drill down on a couple of these matchups.
Okay, so, right. We've prepared a little thing to speed this along compared to how we've been in the past. Some games, they're not really worth the time. So let's jump into some of those. Let's start by talking about Big and Navi. This game actually was quite long. It was a lengthy one. We'd be here for a while with Big starting it out on their opponent's map pick. Absolutely destroying them. They won something like 9 straight rounds. bombed them out. You saw Twisted on his raise going ham, but it wasn't even about that. You know, Musashi, this guy is, I've loved every second of Musashi playing Chamber has left me wanting to see more. This was one of his more quiet maps, to be honest with you. So it was interesting to see, comparing with last week, he wasn't necessarily there to the same extent. But yeah, when we moved on to Navi versus Big on map 2, Ascent, you're seeing there 13-9 in favor of Navi, one that they were obviously their opponents had picked as well. It was a really weird series. We were working on it, and I think that for the most part, it just kind of dragged on. These are very slow. Navi attack side typically can be extremely slow to actually get started, which is why the third map was really interesting. That was probably the only one we'd actually spend some time talking about. It was the Neon coming out of Cloud. It was seeing Navi with a new face, a team that we're typically going to sit back and say, hey, these guys, you know, they'll take it nice and slow. They'll get into your site late. They'll try to pick you apart. And all of a sudden, you got Cloud just like running it down every single round. It was so much fun to watch. But at the end of the day, the reason that this match doesn't get that much airtime from us is because it didn't carry that much weight, or probably doesn't. Big are a team that we're looking set to take bottom of this scoreboard, or bottom of this group. They've pretty much locked that in now, 0-3. Navi might be able to make it through the playoffs, but it's very unlikely. And so this result probably doesn't change anything. The next match that we're going to talk about, though, does definitely change something. And that's mech and BBL. This one was very important because we've seen mech maybe look a little bit shaky, right? We had questions around them coming in. They've been under threat of not making playoffs, which is a disaster for a team like mech. And yet we came in to see them destroy BBL. There was a chance at the start. The first map was kind of close, as you're seeing here, 13-8. But yeah, when we went over to Breeze, it was just not reasonable at all. With mech taking both pistols on Fracture as well, I think it was more acceptable, right? Like, you can see a team lose lose a game where they lose both pistols. That's fair. But here on Breeze, literally 2 rounds in a row, so all BBL were able to get. This was just desolation coming out of early rounds. The chamber that we talked about from Musashi earlier on in the previous series. Well, Chronicle was putting up some serious numbers on this guy. I mean, running around dueling like a madman, and I think ultimately it was really weird to see BBL fall flat. Another one that I think sets things in motion for that group. It leaves it leaves mech 2-1. And then on the other side, BBL 1-2. It might have ended the chances for them to make it all the way, but the reason that one doesn't get too much time is because it was fucking quick, man. This was about a hour and a half series, I think, from start to finish. Got me home in time for dinner, but yeah, I figured we better take some time out and look at the games that were really exciting for us, and I guess we can start with the Guild Liquid one that you've already teased.
That's right. I mean, so these two teams, right? They come off. They've both beaten Big on the way here. I think Liquid beat Big and BBL, and then Guild beat Mech. They 2-0 them, and that's where kind of this Mech look shaky kind of idea came from. I think that was in that first week, right, where they still looked a little bit unsettled. But from you guys, from you mentioned and Sliggy, do you feel like that these two are at the time definitely the undisputed top teams in this group, or do you think that's like strength of schedule that sort of, you know, shades that? Do you think like coming in that this is expected from you guys to be like a close match, like a real table topper, like at least their records suggest?
Yeah, I think so, for me at least. I don't know how you feel, Sliggy.
Yeah, I feel like you have to say that as well. If you get like past results, yeah, pretty much. Guild Liquid's Guild Liquid's always been like a close matchup, really. So yeah, pretty much agree with Misha.
So Liquid's pick split here, but Guild choose attack, and then they go and just put up a 10-2 half. So let's get out the gates and talk about this opener for Guild here. Team Liquid look like they are really struggling. What's going on, and why are Guild able just to break through them with such comfort?
So at least for me, when I watched this, I saw, so as soon as I saw the map veto, it wasn't like a normal map veto that I was expecting.
Okay.
So like Guild are obviously insanely good at Haven, so I thought Haven was going to get picked first. So when I saw like the map vetoes and it was the 3 maps that Liquid had played, I kind of thought that like Guild had just studied everything that was going to happen, and this was kind of like my main worry for these guys when I left was potentially they would be very easy to anti-strat and easy to read. And I honestly think we saw that. I think we had like a really good Guild came in with a really good game plan. I think they had a really good understanding of just how Liquid was going to play. And then they got like 10 rounds on the attack side or something.
Yeah, 10-2 half.
So, yeah, they had some like really good like set rounds just ready, and they just used them on like the most important buy rounds and kind of just snowballed off it. So it was really impressive. Yeah, I think it was a lot was down to just like these games are so different when you have a week in between, so you can just prepare so heavy, and it just looked like Guild were way more prepared.
Let me ask you coming in then as well, because obviously starting on split, Liquid not showing as much. What, when you look at this comp, how are you feeling moving forward? Do you think this is something Liquid will stick with? Do you think the Astra? I really like Cypher nowadays. I think Cypher's been fun to see. But Astra seems really tough to play for a lot of teams. Like we've seen it cut. Do you think Liquid will follow that further down the line?
Yeah, I think they're going to stick with it. I don't think we'll see anything. I don't think we'll see any changes from them, honestly. Like most of the times we would change stuff like mid tournament would be me, because I would
All right.
be worried that this would happen. Like it's very easy to, and especially when there's week in between, it happens so much. So like you kind of have to be changing up, and if you're going to keep the same comp, you have to at least change like your play style between the games. So yeah, I think they're going to keep with the same comp. You might even see them pick the same map, but hopefully they have new stuff.
I mean, losing both pistols doesn't help them either. You know, obviously on that map ends up sort of getting wrapped up pretty quickly. This is sort of how it ends. Are we worried maybe that Liquid are going to be pretty predictable and readable going forward? Is that what we're sort of hinting at here?
That's definitely my concern. That was like the main concern. Obviously, I don't doubt any of their abilities at all.
Yeah.
But that is my main worry when like I left these guys. I thought that this was a possibility.
Mhm.
And at least in this game, I felt like we saw it. But it could also be like an early wake up call for how like this is what happens, so we have to change stuff up. So the next game is going to be like super interesting for them at least. But tell you what, Guild looked incredible. To be fair, like I don't want to just to say that like it wasn't Liquid changing stuff up, because Guild looked so good and they had such a good game plan and everyone was just hitting shots.
Yeah, and I think that's the key thing, right? It wasn't a complete funeral, as we're going to see when we go on to the next map. Like, very much what you're saying. Like, you believe in all these players individually. I mean, we see it when we go on into the next one, that they've got the capability of beating a team like Guild. I think that's a really interesting point as well. Like, the amount of things going through my head thinking about the change that has to happen on Liquid with yourself leaving, with however they want to replace that, or moving forward, and then even like in terms of pacing, like, do you now decide to go crazy and change it up and become super unpredictable to do the things that, but from what I gather, they want to stay a little bit more formulaic, right? Which leads to being more predictable. Challenging or dealing with that has got to be so damn difficult. Having removed, and for this team, right, not having a primary IGL, not having that like that character, that boaster or whatever to work around. Removing you, that's got to be a huge challenge then. Just thinking about identifying those problems, solving those problems, but also just you don't have somebody who's specifically doing that anymore. At least, as far as we know right now. So that's tough, yeah.
I was a little bit shocked with some of their comps, to be honest. I thought like at least like if I was taking over, I felt like you would rely more heavily on like the kind of agents that can pop off, and you just rely on the skills.
Sure.
Like the kind of chambers. Maybe even see like a Reyna popped in there.
Mhm.
So I was a little bit
Yeah.
surprised that we kind of didn't see anything like that. Unless it's some kind of like long-term game plan where they go in with these comps and then they go back to and start putting chamber ins. I don't know. So yeah, it's gonna be like, again, I'm kind of holding out hope for them, because obviously I do really like all the boys. So kind of holding out hope, and we hope to see a better performance next week. But like, yeah, Guild look really scary, like really scary. They've always been the team that has like so much potential, never really delivered how they perform in practice in their officials. So maybe we're starting to see that.
Yeah, I think that's one of the key things, right? Is to look at it and say that this isn't necessarily, as I said, it's not a funeral for Team Liquid. It's not like, oh, well, they fucked it now, GG. They're still one of the top teams in here. They've got Navi up next, who I think is a team they should be able to beat. Mech after that, especially 2 more weeks on Mech. I'm not really sure how that's going to look. That could be a real tough game, but even still, they're, as long as they beat Navi, I think they're locked in for making it all the way. And so at that point, yeah, you've got time at least to deal with those problems and to work. As I said, not a funeral. Icebox was fantastic. It's the last round right here, and it was 13-6.
Yumpy gets like 9 frags on a judge in this map as well. on the defense side. He's just pooing.
Lovely, lovely. That's the Valorant that I love to see.
Yeah, I told him well.
So it's nothing. It's nothing. Along the lines of reinventing the wheel necessarily. Yampi obviously gets to, dictate the pace quite a lot on that defensive side here, and Guild that look like they're really able to bounce back. What of Fracture then? I guess we can, as we move over there, we can talk about I guess there's no chamber here for Liquid on Fracture. They obviously still have the Raze in the comp. They still have Nivera on Cypher, which is something they definitely seem to be pushing quite a lot here. I think Liquid win their first buy round, yeah, and then it's pretty grim from there on out.
Yeah, this was something we saw them struggle with up against BBL, right? It was the same comp they ran, if I'm not mistaken. I don't necessarily want to lean it towards that though. Again, it's like for you real quick though, going from we see teams bounce like this, right? You're 13-4, you're 13-4, you're 13-4, like back and forth. Well, is it easy to just mentally reset after getting boomed out of a map like that? Do you think, like from your perspective, you get 13-4, do you just go, oh fuck it, all right, decider, refresh? Is that easier than like a 13-10?
Yeah, sometimes it's easier than the closer games for sure. We've had a fair share of them, so it definitely comes with like experience as well. But honestly, like when you only get like 4 rounds, sometimes it's way easier than just like the really close games because you're not just thinking about like that one round or that one play that you should have done different. You're just kind of like, well, in the bigger picture, it wouldn't matter at all. So yeah, I think that's kind of sometimes easier for the mentality, and they can look back and change stuff. Again, yeah, dude, I feel like they just need a chamber on this map. Like I would love to see a chamber like this, put Nivera on chamber. Like even when Yampi first game, I think it was the week before against BBL, who's just popping off. Like he got so much value out of his operator on a Sky out of everything. So it's like, dude, if you put that on a good agent, I think this game is at least closer.
And do you think like
Yeah.
playing a Cypher on this map as well, it seems very, if you're talking about a trade-off between a chamber in the hands of a player like Nivera specifically, it's a very unique trade-off. And looking at a Cypher, I feel like it's going to initiate you more towards like hurdling play. Just Cypher, Astra, like there's a lot here starting defense for Team Liquid that can encourage them to be, I guess, a little bit more passive. It leaves a lot onto like Yumpy to initiate a lot of those early fights, defensive side, go for those flashes, try and take the duels after. But I imagine outside of that, you're going to be decently limited.
Yeah, and like I think this is another good thing where I have to give. So this is the map where at the end of the veto, Guild chose between Fracture or Haven. Haven is like literally their best map. So they definitely like looked at the like past Liquid game and was just like, okay, there's stuff we can exploit here, and I think they did it incredible. So like definitely their coaching stuff, and I think that's been like a big thing just this whole week. Even with like the NA stuff that we've seen, like the coaching stuff and the preparation for these games. Just getting better and better, and you're just seeing that with some of the, like these blowout scorelines.
Yeah, I mean, Guild banned Haven to leave Fracture in the pool, right? So they
Yes.
got to make that choice.
Yeah, so it was last one. Like, yeah, so they had the choice of Haven and Fracture, and so
Okay.
for me, I would always think this is going to be Haven just because it's by far their best map. So yeah, but obviously it paid off, and they saw something from the games.
All right.
Can I ask real
sorry,
quick?
Mitch.
Do you think then for Team Liquid that like having seen that video go down the way it did, having seen the map go down the way it did, is this something they're going to sit back and easily look at and go, all right, guys, we need to put something in there? Maybe it's not the chamber, maybe they find a different solution to it, but I feel like at this point then, especially from what you're saying, it looks like the warning signs have been shone in their face very clearly now that like this is a problem and your opponents know it.
Yeah, I really hope we see a change because it's just like they tried the exact same thing as the week before. It's just like it's like really simple plays. It's just like Cypher, Cam, contact stuff, and it's like if that doesn't work and you don't have a fallback plan, it's very hard. So yeah, I think it's gonna be obvious. I really hope we see a change.
We have two teams in our next matchup that bounced back from pretty nasty losses last week, right? We're talking OG London United and G2 respectively, who lose to Fnatic and sort of Fun Plus Phoenix. This ends up being maybe a bit more of a competitive game than some were expecting, but these two teams are both a little hard to put your finger on, I think, if you're a sort of pundit here going in. I'm very curious to know what the expectation is from you guys going into this sort of match and sort of, what you sort of expect to see, because G2 definitely show us that lately they've been a little unsteady on their feet. I mean, ever since Iceland, definitely a little bit shaky.
Yeah, that is true. And I want to quickly say I did predict OG London United to win technically. So, I don't want to, but yeah, no, in all
But
seriousness,
why?
we said that, well, because I used to coach Hype. I love Hype, my boy. Core 3 of Alliance, man. Come on. But yeah, the reality is coming into that day, we knew G2 are favorites. I expected them to win it. I thought maybe like OG can win a map. That would be great to see. And it started out that way with their pick. I still thought G2 would bounce back, to be honest. Like, OG have just been so inconsistent. There have been so many issues, but that's the best thing about having a couple weeks of terrible gameplay under your belt. You got a lot of VODs to watch back. You got a lot of examples of what you've done wrong, and I know from speaking with Hype a little bit, like he feels like they're back on it now. They're the team that they were meant to be at the start. It's just taking them a little while to get there. Although G2 were slow on their feet, sure, they stumbled, and we made all those warnings and so on. That's why I jokingly said, like, oh, OG, you're going to win it 2-0 easy with Tom. But the reality is they weren't stumbling enough to look like they were vulnerable to a team like OG, who up until this week were dead in the water. At least from the matches I watched, I was very unimpressed with what was being brought to the table. But now we're starting to see, I think, a glimmer of what was in mind originally.
For me, this turned out to be like probably the best game that I watched on the weekend. I think I probably had the lowest expectations for it. Actually thought G2 were going to be fine. I was a bit surprised with the hoodie mix, like switching of roles. That kind of caught me off a little bit. But yeah, so it came down to third map, which was Fracture, and basically the teams won both the maps where they won both pistols. So you kind of expect that, right? First map, double pistol. Second map, double pistol, and then it goes to Fracture. G2 win both pistols and still lose. That's not a good sign.
Tom said that Hype was the worst pickup in VCT. Just FYI.
Okay.
Yeah. Those stats were nice.
Can we talk about this mix up here as well? At least maybe why we thought that Mixwell and Hoodie are switching roles, and what the impact of that has been so far, for the better or for worse.
Well, specifically Ascent, it's Hoodie as Ascent Breeze. It's Hoodie back in his olden days, right? This is what he came from in CS opping. He was doing it in Valorant for a while as well. I don't know about you, Sliggy. I'm leaning towards like he's just been doing a lot. He's feeling it, and maybe it's been working out in practice, and so they're going with it, new ideas and all that.
Yeah, and I feel like he's always been good in this kind of role. My main thing that I didn't, or like the main thing that kind of like didn't make sense to me from all of this was I think Hoodie's really good on the duelist. I think it suits him. But my issue was I'm not sure. I felt like we had just got Mixwell to a really good point, right? I felt like he looked great on the chamber. I thought he's having the most impact he's had like since the beta for like literally like a year. It felt like he had found his the perfect fit for him, where he can have so much impact. And then he goes on to these support players again, which is kind of tried it. It didn't work out too well. So I think Hoodie looks great. I'm not sure it needed a mix up. I felt like Mixwell looked really like comfortable in chamber. I don't know what went on behind the scenes. So yeah, a little bit weird for me. I just don't think that he looks comfortable or as comfortable as he did on like the chamber. I felt like he was getting so much impact on the chamber. I'm not sure it needed to be changed.
Yeah, I mean, what's the impact? And we see Nukia obviously on chamber here on Breeze. So what's the impact across the team with now Mixwell not playing the chamber? Because I think what we only get it, they don't even play it on. Well, they do play it on Fracture. Excuse me. So Nukia is playing that now. So yeah, does that have a more far-reaching impact with because what Mixwell started as duelist, it went to Sentinel, back to duelist, then controller now.
Yeah, so it feels like he can't find his proper role at the moment. And I honestly felt like he had it with Chambers. So maybe he just needs more time. It's harsh to like judge within like a week.
Yeah.
And like honestly, his utility looked good. I just don't know. Again, I don't know too much, but maybe it felt like he was just focusing too much on his utility, and it was like having an impact on his fragging. I'm not entirely sure. So yeah, it definitely something to keep an eye on. Yeah, look how many agencies playing. It's crazy.
Wow.
This guy plays everything.
Mike die.
Well, while we're waiting for Mitch has to restart here. So let's move on and talk about the third map here, because this is an OG London United that get themselves 4 rounds total last week. Sounds good to me, Mitch.
Oh,
You're
good.
back. No worries.
Hello.
But they turn around. They turn around on Fracture. I mean, obviously, Hype has a really good map in general. It's it's like a 5-7 half, but I mean, OGLU United really turn up the heat on that attacking side. That second half, where they really start to punish G2.
They looked really good, like honestly, and I felt like their breeze looked okay, but like their ascent was a cool idea, with the comp, and this map, honestly, they looked really good. This this 1v1 was mad, pure madness. But yeah, they all individually stepped up, and honestly, I felt like they had a really nice strats going into this. They just looked way more comfier on the kind of big buy rounds. So again, they lost both pistols, so yeah, they just looked a lot more prepped again than maybe G2 did with like the role changes.
I really enjoyed seeing mCe here as well. He's someone that I've had a lot of respect for a long time. And I don't think he's similar to a lot of like your Batty G and stuff like that. He's one of these players that didn't get the chance really at the top level, but when he was on some teams, I heard nothing but good reports on him, and his raise looked really good. I think looking at him coming in, I expected, or I kind of hoped, in some future teams he would get the chance to really lean into a duelist. He's actually quite a good duelist. Like, you put this guy on a Reigner or something, he can really rip some heads. But when you're in a roster with this many players who can, especially like your Fecus, who we know can put up some serious numbers, maybe didn't this time around, but he can. It's not something you get to see, but the raise was it was quite nice to look at. The other thing as well is the fact that G2 won both pistols coming into Fracture as well, and we talked about it earlier. OGLU being able to make that kind of a comeback into a series that I think most people considered would be G2's pretty easy. It's a really impressive turnaround from last week. Excuse me, from last week to this one.
Yeah, and just to harp on about mCe as well. So like when we used to play against them, this dude would be very hard to anti. He would always be on Sova, and you'd kind of like look for tendencies in his like Sova darts or something like that. This guy just changes up every single game, so he's definitely a hard worker. I think he's like a super underrated player. So yeah, and like that he's kind of like being talked about a bit. I think he's kind of always been a big part of this team for sure. So yeah, I think he's doing good, and he can kind of like can looks like he can do a lot of roles at the moment.
Now, only 3 teams from each group go forward here. OG London United have to play FPX and then Fokus. So how likely do you think it is that they can squeak into that top 3, considering that they share a group with Ascend, FPX, and Fnatic?
As in OG?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't see it happening still. Like, this
No.
is a great result. I think, like, I haven't been on here as well to talk about the groups. These groups are crazy. Like, these groups are so crazy. Group A is wild. So yeah, I think they have a brutal group. I think, honestly, I think this might be the only win they get, to be honest. So I don't think they're going to get much more than this. But this is a great win, and they are looking a little bit better than last season. Maybe a little bit inconsistent in comparison. But yeah, and it's like nothing against them. Just this group is crazy. Look how stacked it is. It's just wild. So yeah, I can't see them getting out of this group.
I can't believe Sliggy's that toxic. Wow. No, I obviously I agree with you completely. FPX and Fokus are both looking really good. Fokus just blew my fucking socks off. I would have guaranteed they're the team going out bottom coming into the season, just because I look at the rest of the teams. I know the other 4 aren't. I know GF hype, so there's fuck all way I'm gonna bet on him to go out. But and to be honest with you, man, Fokus have had such a terrible run in that it's been so good, but they haven't gotten the win, man. I've wanted that win for them so badly. They almost took down Ascend, coming in up against FPX here as well. We were saying that this is basically their chance. If they beat FPX, they would have a shot of maybe qualifying. They would at least be more than likely guaranteeing that they don't go out, right? They would have to face OG London United later, and that could make a little bit complicated. That is the last game of the season for them. The harsh reality now, having lost to FPX, is that now Fokus don't just need to beat OG London United, which seemed like that was going to be the end of the season for them, right? That both of these teams would lose all their games, and then they'd face off against each other to determine who won that spot. We could see the writing on the walls. Fokus now have to beat, but they have to get 2 wins, right? Which is Fnatic. Fnatic is their next game. OG London United after that. That is an impossible survival route essentially, and that
Yeah.
that fucking sucks because this team, I'm gonna be so sad if they get relegated. First of all, seeing a Welsh player, how fucking often do you get to see that? We had your boy Lewis on the broadcast for some interviews as well. The combination of nationalities here is one thing, but then they have delivered just to an unbelievable level. Again, they've got Yugi in there, so you think like he's not going to be on a shit team, but like they shouldn't have come in and looked as good as they did up against the teams that they looked this good against. And sadly, with a very close first map there, 13-11, like you saw, your boy Lewis, who I mentioned, he was fragging out like crazy, but this was just a well-rounded gameplay from them. Next map that they chose was Fracture.
Yeah, they
What
get blown
wasn't
out.
so much. I don't know if we want to just play the last round of that one.
Yeah,
And
just the last round.
see what score it was. It's really sad, man. I don't know. So it's like I say, like I knew Yugi, and I'd seen your boy Lewis. I didn't know where from. I found out later he played with Average Jonas in the Spike Nations of Twitch. So that's where we're at with this team, right? Like these aren't like big names and whatever. Yugi obviously is, but from CS, but the others. Did you know these guys? Were you familiar with them? Have they also blown your expectations out of the water? Or
A
what's
little
their
bit.
story
So we watched quite a lot of their stuff. Obviously Yugi we knew about. We like even trialed him for Liquid before Yampi for like 2 days.
Oh.
So your boy Lewis I knew because in like the beta, this guy played so much. Every like game he would be in like 1 out of 2 games. Like he was always playing. Like every single time if they had a raise on the other team, it would literally be this guy.
Yeah.
So he's like a
They
proper
says-
grinder. I feel a bit bad. I feel a bit bad for him. He always comes into my stream and he's just like, "Oh, what's your prediction for us next week?"
Oh no.
Like with the game coming in, and I'm always just like, I gotta be honest, man. I don't think you're gonna win this one, but like, I respect his like confidence. He's always like, "We'll see" and stuff like that. So they have good confidence. They look great. They look great. I think they'll get a win against OG.
Ooh.
But I don't think anything else. They should be super happy with what they've done. Especially some of the maps they get really close. But yeah, they make a few little mistakes that need to be cleaned up. But yeah, I've been super impressed with them. I think their 2 games will be interesting. Fnatic's going to be really hard for sure, but I think the OG game, I think they can take that. So I think they're going to get a win.
Yeah, we can talk about Fnatic, I guess, as they come in with a ton of momentum after their victory against OG London United. I think they lost like 4 rounds over the course of that series. So this team is like, I mean, we don't really know like what the limit is for this roster, right? They are looking pretty insane here. Coming to this game, slower start for them, and then they just fucking blow a send out. They completely blow them out. I mean, Durka on this chamber I think he gets, I mean, over the course of just this map, Durka has 3 3Ks and a 4K.
Oh man, hold on. I'm gonna get a tweet and send it to Ian so that he can hopefully get it up if we don't have it already, because I've only just remembered it exists. So give me 2 seconds here, but basically,
Sure.
you just take note the first 4 rounds obviously were the ones that Ascend won, right? And I'll grab this now.
All right. Is that information I need to have in hand that contextualizes the tweet?
Maybe is it just literally about them getting like 13 rounds in a row? Because this was crazy.
It was a good little meme, but it was just
crazy
Durka
impressive.
photoshopped as the American football players saying they had us in the first 4. Not gonna lie.
Oh yeah. I
gorgeous.
remember that one. I saw that tweet.
So
Fucking hell.
I've been super impressed by these guys, like so much so that I'm just fully on the train. Like I'm at the front of the train. I'm going. They're the best team in the world. Until I see them perform not as good as I have in the last 3 games, like I'm still going to be on this train. They just look incredible. If they play like they did this week and the week before consistently, like I can't say that any other team looks better than them. So yeah, I'm down to call them the best team in the world, create some pressure on the coach Mini's back. So yeah, I'm in for it. So yeah.
I am blown away by Althea personally. I like when I brought up that obviously I wasn't really familiar with his background. Everyone was like, "Oh, yeah, no, he's insane. He's just fucking sick." I'm like, "The fuck is this common knowledge or what?" I mean, this is another this is another scouting effort that Fnatic made. I mean, Brave being the first one that, it does not take time for Althea to thrive in this roster.
He's incredible. Like he's actually incredible. Apparently, they had they had their eyes on him last year. And so they've always like Mini's just the god of scouting. It seems like he's just incredible. He just finds the talent. And yeah, the dude looks comfortable. He's just making plays on his own. His aim's crazy. Yeah, he's a super talent. When him and Dirk are on the same team, it's very scary. So yeah, I'm really in for this team. I just think they're great. I think he looks so good. He's 16, right?
Yeah.
Or
How
he's
much
super young.
how much contact is Alpha you're taking on Icebox here? Is he's obviously not playing the B side, but he's like 5-2, first kill, first death, just taking contact on A, I assume.
Yeah, I
Is he
think so.
lurking much or?
He's honestly sometimes, but he'll like go around middle a few times. He'll do
Yeah.
like the classic stuff with the killjoy. But like, there's loads of times where he just decide to just run through. And they had like a bonus round when they won the pistol, and then bonus round he decided to like on Icebox to just run straight through middle. I think we saw it on the clip there. It's just like the guy just has so much confidence. He has such good aim. Yeah, he's a bit of a super talent. So yeah, I'm excited about his future. He looks good. And on a lot of agents as well. He's like fast.
There it
His
is.
his first kills are crazy. Yeah, this is good.
Yeah, I think the thing about Alpha Air, we were super hyped about him and CNED having that duel, right? Like, this is a real. I guess it's a pride matchup for CNED, right? Like, you got another Turkish superstar coming up. You know, CNED's the Turkish player in Valorant, but Alpha Air's really giving him a run for his money right now. And anyone that's able to come into a team and this quickly make a game look this competitive against a team like Ascend and up against his regional counterpart to CNED, like, there must have been so much going through Alpha Air's head during that game as well. Like, this was a huge challenge and delivered massively, and hasn't. This is the thing about him, similar to early days of CNED, and as has continued on in time, he just doesn't seem to have a bad game. I think I've seen the guy once where I'm like, oh yeah, he looks like an average player there. No, he just always looks unreal.
Yeah, he's pretty incredible. I do think maybe he suffered a bit from the Jet nerf. He's not having as much impact. I still think he's incredible, but I think he's not having as much impact. So maybe that's something that's coming into play for this team. They definitely relied on him to a certain amount. So to not have that as much first kill potential as we did before might be hurting him a little bit.
Do you mean CNED?
Yeah, CNED. I
okay.
think he got hit a little bit by the Jet nerf.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
maybe him on Chamber could be like really interesting. But yeah, I'm not sure what's going on.
Mitch, talk to me about your boy Enzo. Another player
petit ami,
he's
baby.
really hit the ground running on this team, hasn't
Hey,
he?
look at this guy. He speaks French.
Yeah. Listen. yeah. Enzo's been unreal. I think we had some conversations about the introduction to this guy, and we heard Boaster talk about it a bit as well in some of the interviews that basically I said it on the broadcast. I've seen Enzo in some positions where, you know, we've been on TeamSpeak, we've had a player who's just losing his shit, you know, like shouting, like way out of line. And the correct response would probably be to turn around and be like, dude, shut the fuck up, you know? And I've never heard Enzo lose his shit, raise his voice, get angry. He's just, guys, come on, it's okay. He's always a positive presence, right? And that's that carries through to real life as well. He's just a very positive dude. And I think for Fnatic having that, certainly whenever we look at the firepower upgrade you've got here with Alpha here, then you've got Enzo coming in the background, amazing support player, secondary calling, and coming in, I think the guys were saying when they're losing rounds, you know, he's the one like lifting them up, keeping everybody positive. It just seems like right now Fnatic have found all of the right pieces that fit together just perfectly. And it's really, really nice to watch. And of course, I'm very happy to see my boy Enzo up there fragging out, doing well at the tier 1 level. I think you like this team, I'm with what Sliggy said earlier, right? Like, let's put pressure on mini because he's made a fucking good team here. This might be one of the best for sure.
Yeah, let's do it.
You think, like Sliggy says, Mitch, this is might be the best team in the world right now?
Oh, I know they've got the best Sov in the world, so I guess they might be.
Okay, all right.
To quickly talk about Enzo quickly, and the one thing that I felt like he's added a lot to this team is like a second voice, especially when they do like timeouts. He's talking so much. I think that's actually freed Boaster up to kind of like concentrate a bit more on his fragging. This is probably, I've never seen Boaster win as many angels as this, and I've seen this guy play CS for like what 5-6 years probably as well. Like, this guy never wins as many angels as he's winning now. So the fact that he's having to like think less maybe, and Enzo's coming in and just calling it and just like just helping out with, of course, comms and info and morale and stuff like that. I think it's really helping Boaster kind of focus on his individual game, because it's like the best Boaster's looked in this team. And yeah, it does look like they have just the perfect 5 pieces.
Yeah. And the thing is as well, when I look down through, wait, Enzo is the best Sova. He's the greatest. What a nice man. Who actually made this graphic? I requested this yesterday. I'm happy we threw it together so quickly. Yeah, all of his strengths right there. Also, he looks like a goddamn model. You might think you shouldn't have put a model in a jersey there. No, that is actually Enzo. That's the nerd.
I don't know. Maybe it's because we're constantly dealing with like people who are already very skilled at Valorant. So like then like the odd guy that is just like insanely hot. We're just like, why does this person have everything? But forget we're dealing with people that are already like the very best in one field. So like it just so happens that whatever, man. It's kind of bullshit, but that's genetics, right? Vans, that's what we tell ourselves. Genetics. Yeah.
That's how I stay.
No worries.
That's how I stay young.
Okay. Let's talk about next week. Let's look ahead here to week number 4 because this is where a lot of teams' fates really do get decided here. Again, I want to, look at some of these upcoming matchups and see maybe what we're expecting to sort of pop off because there's some, I don't know, some potentially one-sided affairs here. What do you guys think? What should we be looking at? This first one here, this Ascend G2 game, or is G2 maybe not earning our faith right now?
I feel like the top 2 are bangers. Like honestly, that for me, they're with how Liquid looked last week, I'm definitely thinking that game might be close. I think it should be fine for Liquid, but I still think it might be close. And then Ascend G2, I have no idea how this game's gonna go. So that's gonna be interesting. Mech, Big, I don't know. I think the top 2 are the closest. I think for me though.
Well, that's Ascend G2 comparison on Ascent, and you can see both of them having losses last time around. It's I really don't know either looking at this one. I feel like Ascend will probably take it. Like G2 have been on shaky footing. We see these changes coming through now. Mixwell still needs to kind of prove himself coming into this role, right? Hoodie, sure, he has proven himself on that jet, but what is that causing in the team as well? Like maybe it's something to do with the IGLing. Mixwell wants to be more removed, perhaps. I have no idea what's going on there. And I guess just with those question marks floating around, and I'm happy enough to say maybe it was just a bad game coming out of the likes of CNET. He got shut down like I've not seen him for a while. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt, but I think that's a very close game indeed. And then Liquid Navi, I don't know. I think Liquid should win that one. I think they should 2-0 it. Navi have just had too many issues along the way, and when I think about just purely on a firepower level, like Navi will need to have a good game. Liquid will just need to have a normal game.
I think the map veto might be super important as well for this map, for this game. Sorry, because I don't know. I would like to see. We've only seen 3 maps from Liquid, so I'd like to see how they look on some of the other maps. It's going to be interesting to see how the veto goes. I actually think Navi's map was not too bad at the moment. I think
banned Fracture. That's good for Liquid.
Yeah, exactly. Their defense so it kind of depends on like what Liquid's going to do with their ban really, because some of their bans have been interesting. But I kind of rate Navi's bind still, even though they lost. I think their defense looks really good. I still think this comes down to maps. We'll see.
Okay. Looking forward to seeing how that pans out. Speaking of the future, Sliggy, what's up next for you that you can divulge to us? What's happening in your world, and where can folks find you if they want to continue to benefit from your expertise and experience?
So you can find me on Twitch, Sliggy TV. That's pretty like the main thing. I'll just be doing watch parties at the moment. As for my future, I'm not gonna rush anything. I just want to make sure that whatever team I go into next is the right team. I'm definitely going to stick with coaching. That's 100% what I want to do for like the next 4 years.
Sliggy to bleed.
So we'll see.
Singapore.
Whatever team I join, I'm going to have like full confidence that we can win like championships and stuff like that. So, but for like the next 2 months, just a little bit of content and just kind of keep him fresh for the game.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, that sounds good. I know a lot of people. Again, a lot of people that come in here as well speak very highly of your watch parties and stuff. So hopefully they continue. Thanks for coming. I want to give a big shout out, to mCe came on earlier on the show as well. Talk about NA. Mitch fans, what's coming up for you guys? Thanks for being here as usual. Not that you fuckers have a choice, but there it is.
We have a choice, and we chose to be on Valoranting every Tuesday, so we love it. Love it. But yeah, casting this weekend, so that's gonna be super fun, and then just get ready to close out the groups and the playoffs and see what happens after.
Yeah, same here. On Saturday cast this weekend, gonna be fun. Watch some VCT, watch some more Valorant.
I hope Sliggy's gonna flame me during his watch parties because he's being too nice.
Yeah, I can start doing that again. Do you know what? The overall level is. I used to flame so much. But the overall level of just like everyone, just the casting, the playing is so much better. So like that's kind of subsided a little bit.
Good.
That's
That's a
awesome.
very good sign and a pretty strong endorsement as well.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, good on you, Vans. Keep up the good work. I'm about to get on a fucking plane, go to Texas, and do a LAN event. Let's see if this shit gets completely fucking boomed by COVID. Yeah,
It'll be
fingers crossed.
fine. Everything will be fine, Mitch. Everything will be fine.
Yeah, it's been 2 years since I get to cast a LAN. So listen, I'm not getting ahead of myself here. I'm just gonna fucking get on a plane and go. Thanks for being here, everyone. Next week we're gonna be back. Of course, we need to break down what will go down in week 4 of VCT in both NA and EMEA. So stay tuned for that one, 11 a.m. Tuesday. Until then, have a great week. Enjoy yourselves in Valorant. See you next time.